All right, all right. Welcome, sweet sister. Welcome to, let me just, detour right quick. Welcome to, I don't know if I want to call it a webinar, a master class. And I say detour because if this is your first encounter with me, you'll find really quick that I have a lot of squirrel brains. I promise I will stay on task, but I also don't hold back some of the thoughts that I have, and this is one that I have. I'm not really big on titles and like labeling stuff, but for the sake of trying to identify like what this is, we can just put it in the box of it being like a webinar, a master class, a free coaching call. Let's just think about it that way. But first and foremost, before that, I want you to picture yourself being right across the table from me, right across the couch, right across the coffee shop table or bar. Okay. Because I want you to be super comfortable and at ease with what we are going to be talking about. Another thing, I always use my journal whenever I am sharing something or teaching something, because I'm a firm believer in you kind of need to know what you're talking about. But even more important for me is I need to know that you have personal experience with what you're teaching me about. Have you gone through this? Have you encountered this? Or are you coming from this? Well, I went to school and got a degree and read a bunch of books, but I've never really, okay, I don't really like that. I'm sorry if that steps on anybody's toes, but I'm just being completely honest. I only teach and I only create content and talk about things that I have experienced myself, am currently going through myself. So, hands down, I'm not just, shooting off any bluff and stuff. This is for real, real life. Your girl has gone through it. She has learned how to master it, and she is now liberating other women through it. Okay. So I felt after recording the course, the Reclaim You collection, I felt really strongly about creating something that was along the free coaching line to help jumpstart women, to help kickstart you to your healing journey. Okay. And so I pulled the three most important things that I think, at least for me, they were the most important things that catapulted me forward in my personal healing journey after exposure to unhealthy and toxic relationships. Okay. And so I'm calling this the three things you can do today because we're not putting off our healing anymore. Okay. We're doing this today to take your confidence, your identity, and your independence back. All right. So I want to ask you a question and just be honest with yourself. Have you ever looked at yourself and thought, I don't even know who I am anymore? Oh, I don't even know how I got here. I see myself pouring, into everyone. I'm taking care of the husband who treats me like crap. I'm taking care of the kids. But, I just still don't feel like myself. It's like I've disappeared along the way. I'm covered by all of these hats that I wear now to the point I don't know who I am anymore. And if you answer yes, girl, yes, and yes, then keep listening. Okay. But I do want to start off and, I'm just going to share my personal story. And like I said, I have my notes because your girl can get chatty Cathy. I'm not even going to lie about that. Okay. But I did want to give you a little bit of background with my own personal unhealthy and toxic relationships. Okay. So I was married twice. My first marriage lasted about 5 years and we had a son together. And then my second marriage lasted close to 11 years and we brought forth five kids. So, needless to say, when I started my single motherhood journey, it was with six whole kids, single mother of six. And just a little side note, I did send my son to my brother and my sister in love before me and my other five kids could get out of our situation. And so he was actually out. almost 3 months before we, were actually able to leave and get relocated. Okay, so when I moved to my now location, it was me and 5 kids in tow. And now my oldest is an adult and he is in the army. So I just have me and my 5 here at home. Okay. Now, my last marriage is the one that I reference the most because now my first marriage, it was not trauma free, abuse free. With my first marriage, he was military, so there came a certain level of PTSD from him. There was lots of infidelity. There was physical abuse with that one, and there was also drug and alcohol abuse from both of us in that one as well. My second marriage, that's the one with the emotional abuse, the mental, psychological abuse, the religious abuse, and the narcissism. Okay. So my most recent marriage, the one for almost 11 years, right? It was 11 years by the time the divorce was final. That's the one that I referenced the most. And that's where the divinely aligned woman birthed from. Okay. Because that was the marriage that showed me a different side of a human being that I had not ever really ever remember encountering before to that magnitude. That's the marriage that took me almost to the end of my life prematurely. If you can go where I'm saying, it almost took my life physically. Okay. And so that's the one that I'm just like, okay, that is where this pain into purpose. This is where divinely aligned woman is coming from. This is where me being able to reach out to you, throw you a safety net or the little, I'm a visual person. So I see the lifeguard, the red tube thing that they jump in on, and it helps keep them up while they're rescuing somebody else. That is where I'm able to throw that out to you because your girl went through some stuff. Okay. So, um, with that marriage, it didn't start out with all masks down, and they never really do. They never really do start that way. So it was over time, um, things began to change. But then there came a point where it was like things changed drastically, and I can kind of pinpoint that time when that happened. It was around 2019-ish, when things I was pregnant with our fifth, so our fourth together, but my fifth child. And stuff just kind of went through the roof. We were already having, one kid, what seemed like every 2 years. And that's also when the shift, actually a couple years before that, the shift in beliefs started. And if you've ever gone through a religious change, then it's like, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming. It's like it questions and comes against everything that you've ever been taught. And there's just this level of, oh my God, is this right? Is this wrong? Okay, maybe this is right. And then you've got somebody that's basically holding it over you, like if you don't convert to this, if you don't start to take this path with me, then we're just going to go. And that this is exactly what he said to me and did. We're going to go like this. And I probably should have took that as a sign then, like, okay, then let's go like that, because I'm not so sure, you know anywho. And another thing that happened was there was a shift in roles. So, traditionally, the man is the provider, he's the breadwinner, he takes care of the home, and so forth and so on. Well, I was the breadwinner, I took care of the home, I homeschooled the kids. Like, it was just a complete shift in how things were done, and there was a lot put on my shoulders and on my plate. So, I'm dealing with that. So, through ongoing coercion and manipulation, I just really began questioning myself and then wondering, what did I do to deserve this? And then in another mind, it's like, well, maybe this is how it's supposed to be. This is what love is. This is my lot. This is how it's going to go. And insert the isolation, the low self-esteem, the increased people pleasing, the overwhelm, just all the things. I mean, I could go on and on and on. You already know, if you've been in this situation, I probably hit on a lot of stuff just with that short list right there, because that is what happens when you're in this type of unhealthy and toxic relationship. This stuff starts to creep in, and before you know it, you're operating from straight, legit survival mode. And you're teaching yourself to cope with that, to deal with that, and to live from that place. And so it becomes normal. Okay. I had become quite good, like so many of us do, of keeping the peace, walking on the eggshells, not saying the wrong things so he doesn't blow up and start this whole thing, because it's always us within the home that take the blunt force of this type of abuse. Because the moment you step outside of your home, is the moment you literally walk through another portal almost. I mean, that's literally what it feels like. It feels like you're stepping into a new dimension and all is well. The smile, oh, your family's so cute. Y'all look so happy. Y'all make such beautiful children. There's all of this positivity and greatness because you know how to step out and be like, all is great. But in the back of your mind, you know that as soon as you step back through that portal, back through that other dimension, the gloves come back on, and it's like put up your dukes, because it's never a dull moment. It's never settled. It's never easy. It's always like what's coming next type of thing. And I know you know what I'm talking about. So there came a time, and I'm going to read this verbatim because the way this hit me when I journaled this out, it was perfect. The visualization that I got from this, I want to make sure you catch the same vision, and I don't want to mess it up. So there came a time when the pimple that was growing over time would burst. I know it sounds nasty, but that's how it felt the moment I woke up. That's how it felt the day I was going to take my own life to escape it all. And that was the day I left. Because I didn't lose myself overnight. I lost myself to little compromises. But the same way I lost myself is the same way I knew at the fiber of my being and my God complex, and I'm not talking about I am God, I'm not that, but if we are created in his image, I'm talking about from his divinity poured into me, the very core of my being, my soul knew that I could get that back. And I could get it back, not just at a stable level, not just at a balance, because we learn how to do that even living in the toxic environment. We can create balance, even if it's just for a little bit. We can create the stability, even if it's just for a moment. I knew deep down that I could come out of this, get back what was stolen, what was lost, what was taken, all of that, and I could live in divine alignment. I could live the life that the Most High created for me to live. I knew I could. Okay. And I'm living proof of, and this is another one of those things, you don't have to agree with me on this, but this is one of those things where I will say that healing does not have to take years. For one, because I feel like we're always on this healing journey. I feel like we're always, if we make it a part of who we are to always seek to be better, to do better, then we'll always, see an area where it's like, oh, okay, that's my conditioning speaking, I need to rewire, relearn, so I can become a better person, and, it'll have a ripple effect. But somewhere along the lines, I feel like we've been fed this lie that, oh, you always have to be struggling. You always got to be going through something. Healing has to take forever in a day. And I'm here to tell you, no, it's not. When I locked in and I made up my mind that I was not going to live from a place of lack, from a place of disturbance, from a place of woe is me, I've been through this, and you need to feel sorry for me, and I'm a single mom who's been through, like, I decided that I was not going to lock into that, but I was going to lock into show me I'm ready to heal, and I am ready to deal with whatever I got to deal with, because I know that one, life is short, time is short here in the earth, and I have a purpose. and I'm ready to live it. I'm ready to live my best divinely aligned life here on this side of eternity. And when I locked into that, I'm telling you, within weeks of making that choice and starting to do the work and starting to actually embody what I was being shown and what I was being taught, my life started changing drastically. It started at 180 in this area. Okay, I'm seeing where, this is part of my conditioning. This is part of why I respond this way. Okay, what do I need to do to reprogram? And that's where I came up with this method. I did not even mean to come up with this method, but the fact that it has now become a thing, and I haven't coined it yet, I haven't trademarked it or anything, but I'm going to talk about it because it's not anything that I've ever heard anybody say verbatim, but it's the R F and I have to go there, RFDR method. It's recognizing something, forgiving whatever needs forgiveness around that thing, decoding, which means, understanding what needs to stay and what needs to be reprogrammed. And then that's the last thing, is replacing or reprogramming. That's the final R in it. And once I realized that that's what I was doing, when I was met with something, and not to say it's a one quick fix, like, oh, okay, this is why I respond this way. Oh, now it's fixed. It's literally like when you're lifting weights, you don't lift 10 reps and all of a sudden you got this big bicep, or you don't just take off running and you can run a mile in 4 minutes. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes repetition. But once you have a system that works for you, yes, it becomes part of your lifestyle. And that's what the RFDR method has become for me. And that's what I have now turned into something that I teach women, especially in the Reclaim You collection. That is where I really just realized, like, okay, this is a method and I'm going to go with it and I'm going to teach it to you and you can adopt it and now use it in your life and move forward. So, that's how I got there with that. But with this masterclass, though, with this webinar, with this whatever's coaching moment, um, I want to take part of that method and break it down into the 3 shifts. Okay. So let's get started. If you want to grab a pen and paper, you can be ready to pause and not, or, watch it all the way through, then, come back because this is free. It's here. So you can always come back to it and watch as many times as you want to. Okay, so the shift number 1, confidence. So we're gonna start with confidence because for me, I needed to start there because before my last marriage, I came into that thing like knowing who I was, sure of who I was. I didn't need to question my choices, or, I just came with this inner autonomy and authority that was like, okay, I'm confident in what I think, say, and do. That's what was stripped over time. So that was one of the first things I felt like, okay, if I'm going to work on my identity and work on my independence, I want to work on those two coming from a confident place, a more confident place. So the thing I did here was I began creating emotional safety. I began creating emotional safety because emotions, whew, they can be all over the place. And when you have been in a relationship where there's been this tug of war and just this whole questioning, and next thing you know, you're questioning your reality and you don't know, am I okay to feel this? Can I not feel this? Okay, my body is sweating, like I'm having physical reactions to things, like, okay, I'm all over the place. Help, survival mode kick in. Then yeah, emotional safety is where you want to start. You want to create that space of it is okay to feel like this. And now I can calm down and I can come from a place of let me now understand why I'm feeling like this. And if there's something off with how I'm feeling, I can fix it. But my emotions and my mind need to understand that I'm safe. This is a safe space that I'm creating to feel and to understand how I'm feeling and to process it and then make any adjustments should I need to. Okay. So creating emotional safety acts as a binding agent and a catapult to other areas of healing. That's the primary teaching point that I want you to take from this is creating emotional safety then creates a binding agent. So as you start to heal in other areas, you're coming from a safe space, not a, I still feel like I'm in danger. I still feel like I'm in this fight or flight mode. I still feel like, now of course you may not have it mastered, but I mean, once your conscious is made aware and your subconscious is made aware that, hey, we're going to start making some changes here. We're going to start making some changes because you instantly are going to, this is danger. This is fight or flight. This is against me. We're going to start making some changes here. And you're literally telling yourself and you're starting that reprogram, that decoding so you can reprogram your mind to not instantly go there, but to go to, okay, this is okay. This is safe. It's all right. It's hard to feel like this. Well, let's figure out if this is right. This is what I need to do. So here's the action step. Learn to regulate your nervous system. Okay. Learn to regulate your nervous system. And that is a loaded topic, but everything starts from learning. And if you've never went down that path of, well, how do I regulate my nervous system? How do I do, of course, off top, I'm going to recommend my Reclaim You collection. I'm definitely going to recommend my Divinely Aligned Woman Code because we really get into the depths of that with that. Okay, with the Reclaim You collection, we're starting to peel off the onion layers. But the Divinely Aligned Woman Code, we're finna saute some stuff up with these onion layers, okay? And we're gonna make a dish that's delicious and smells great, and it's your divinely aligned life, okay? But in between that, if you want to just YouTube it, I mean, I'm not saying just willy-nilly and trust anybody, but trust your intuition if you can to lead you to the exact videos that you need to start learning about nervous system regulation. But this is what I want you to do to begin this process, okay? Find one thing or activity you can do to ground yourself. Okay. I personally use journaling, dancing, singing, prayer, meditation, working out. Those are just my go-to things. But you can also use deep breathing. So in a moment, you can just breathe in really deep and try to go beyond just the shallow, but really fill your belly with some air and then breathe out just as long as it took you to breathe in and just really calm yourself. Just calm yourself and tell yourself that you're safe and that you are okay. You can go for a walk, do some small movement types of stuff, positive social connections, call your best friend up, giggle, cackle, talk about something positive. But the whole thing is to keep it simple. Okay, you want to keep it simple, you want to keep it doable, and you want to keep it immediate. This isn't something I want you to think super hard about. Yes, there's layers to it, but you have to start somewhere. It is overwhelming, and this is where a lot of people go 95 south with their healing, and they end up hitting a brick wall and just saying, you know what, I don't know, it's just too much. Because there is a lot. There are layers. And if you try to take on and do a whole lot at one time, it is going to get very overwhelming. And your nervous system is going to recognize that as shutting down now, computer blue screen now, too much now. I can't do this. So don't beat yourself up. Don't approach this from a place of shame. Approach this from a place of, I am doing something to reclaim my confidence back. And it's starting with creating emotional safety by means of journaling or putting on some music and dancing or going for a walk And the more you start to do that, the more that other things are going to come into alignment in your mind and in your body. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to touch base with is the shift in identity. And what I have for this one, and this was, again, I'm sharing the top three that I did. The first top one with confidence was that learning how to regulate. I got to start somewhere. I gotta do something. And that's where I started with identity. I started with reconnecting who I was. I started connecting with who I was before survival mode Michelle kicked in. Okay. Because going back to, before the most previous marriage, I was this confident woman. I did have a lot going for me. I was able to have a lot of really amazing experiences that were in alignment with who I was created to be and what I was created to do. I was on the Christian radio station with the segment with four other ladies. We were called the Fab Five. I was a frequent guest on the Beauty for Ashes show on WNKJ. I had speaking gigs at churches, at elementary schools for their girls' night out. I was the newspaper columnist for my community and military wives because I was a military wife before. So I had that experience and that know and that commonality to help answer some questions via a column that I would write weekly. And that's just to name a few things. But going through my last marriage, all of that stuff started to be stripped to where I became just this woman that I didn't recognize, but at the same time, to try to keep my sanity. And because I was the breadwinner, I was able to grow a network marketing business to six figures within 2 years because I could pour myself into that without getting the negative kickback that I was getting in my own home from somebody who said that they loved me and who was supposed to keep me safe and who was supposed to provide and who was supposed to, do this, that, and the third. So I poured myself into my network marketing business and grew that joker six figures before taking a year off. And I know it was because I was coming from a place of, well, for one, I need to do this because providing for my family and taking care of us is now on my shoulders. And the way I was raised, which is part of other conditioning, but it's not necessarily all the way wrong. If you have to take care of yourself, you do it. You do it. And if you've put it into somebody else's hands and they've dropped the ball, then you pick the ball up. So my teaching moment for this one is your identity didn't disappear. It got buried under survival. That's the kicker. You didn't disappear. It's like, where am, who am I? Where did Michelle go? Like, she didn't disappear. You didn't disappear. It just got buried underneath survival mode, Michelle. And survival mode, entered in your name. So the action step for this one is what I call the before them exercise. So here are three questions that are going to help you to really start to tap into, you know, how were you before all of the transitions and shifts in identity and just, now you're a product of your toxic environment and just, three questions. One, who was I before this relationship? I want you to answer that question. Who were you before your toxic relationship? And take your time answering these, but you can pause or whatever. And then what did I love? Did you love walks in the park? Did you love spontaneous trips and, just let's go hiking this weekend. Let's just jump up and go fishing or, what are some things that you love? What did you love, especially before your unhealthy relationship? And then the last question is, what felt natural to you? What felt natural to you? Because a lot of times you can identify your life's purpose in the things that were just natural. Like I can go all the way back to elementary school when I was tutoring other students in grades ahead of me. Yeah. I always had some type of role or something where I was speaking. I was on our middle school's news team. I was in the choir from fourth grade all the way up through graduating high school. Like, there's just things that I did throughout like life from childhood all the way up that point to, oh, okay, so that's why I'm a published author. That's why I like to write. That's why I have like 700 journals. And that's why, I love to speak naturally. That's why, so fill in that blank for you. What felt natural to you before your unhealthy relationship? Okay. All right. Last but not least, third shift. We're going to touch base with independence. And this is where I started when I told myself, okay, we're not going to keep living under this cloud. We're not going to keep looking over our shoulder. We're not going to keep, should I not? That right there. I told myself, with my independence, I have to start making decisions based off of what I think, what I know, what I should do. You know, no more of this, should I not? Like, oh, I should call somebody and ask. Like, you can ask my brother or my sister in love how much I was like, okay, so brother, and this is how it's so funny because he knows that when I'm calling him for now, it's coming from a different place. Before, when I would call him for life advice and all of this, I would always lead a message or a phone call with, "Hey, brother," and he'd be like, "Hey, what's up?" So I was thinking about something and I need your advice. And he knew from like the beginning of moving here that I was coming from a place of I need you to tell me what to do. I need you to validate, confirm, endorse, like because I don't know. I am not, And so we had a talk one day where he was like, I just want to tell you, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I just want to tell you that I'm your brother. I am your brother. You can come to me about anything. And he's my older brother. So there's three of us, and it's him, my sister, then me. I'm the baby. And we're all 7 years apart. So my brother is 14 years older than me. Okay. So he's like, I'm your brother. You can come to me with, anything. I'm here for you. He said, but I'm not your dad. I'm not your father. Don't come to me thinking you need my permission, thinking that you need me to, make a choice for you. I can give you my advice and I can give you some guidance, but I'm your brother, not your dad. And after we had that conversation, I was like, damn, okay, I see it. I see it. My independence was still just whack. And that's okay. I mean, I'm glad I had that experience by any means. I mean, now I'm glad I had that experience because now I'm able to share it. But I thought, okay, I need to take my power back through making my own decisions and starting small. Not, ooh, I'm gonna go out here and buy a house. Not that. But for me, it was starting just with, yes, I do want to wear that. Yes, I do want to straighten my hair. Yes, I do want to get contacts again. I'll still wear my glasses if I want to, but I want to wear contacts. I want to see my eyes. I don't want to be hidden behind glasses anymore. Those three that I just shared with you were some of the toughest things for me to come to terms with being okay with for myself. Because in the back of my mind, I could hear my ex-husband saying little remarks saying little things, somehow finding it to be some negative or not right or a sin, to straighten my hair, to wear contacts, to wear the outfit. So that's where I started, was with making small decisions. Yes, I will wear makeup again. Yes. Another one. See, my nails are done. That one, at the time of me recording this, took me a long time. I just finally made the decision in February. Was it February, end of January? It was either the end of January, beginning of February of 2026. So I'm recording this March 31st of 2026. I finally got over all of the conditioning when it came down to getting my nails done. Because I used to keep my nails done. That was another thing. Honey, my hair was fly, my face was fly, my outfits were fly. If I used to keep my nails done on the regular in college. And then coming on out of college, going into early adulthood, you wasn't gonna catch me. And the thing is I have really good nails. Thank you, Mom. I have really good hard. They grow great now. I've had 6 kids and I'm 42 at the time of recording this. So my nails have naturally kind of taken a small turn, but for the most part, they're still very good, hard. A couple of them grow a little crooked sometimes, but whatever. They're still, so I'm not covering them up because I got crappy nails and, I want the nails that I've never had before. My nails will look like this. I could do them like this if I grew them out and did, but that's not the point. The point is I get my nails done because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel better. I like the way it looks and I like the way it feels. I'm not getting my nails done to appease anybody else or to look flashy for anybody else. This is for me. And I struggled with that up until January, just a couple months ago. I finally said, no, I'm not gonna keep doing this. I keep wanting, and on this side of my head, I'm like, "Oh, I just want to get my nails done. I want to start by getting my nails done. That is something I want to do for me. I want to get my nails done. And then over here, it's like, well, they're fake, cost money. Who you trying to show off for? Just insert all the mess. And finally, one day I said, let me check my confidence right quick. Let me check my identity right quick. And let me check my independence right quick. And I didn't find out another thing wrong with me going to get my nails done. And that's the day I said, bet I'm going to get my nails done. You can ask my kids. I told them, I said, look, mommy's about to go get her nails done. I said, thank you, Lord. That's what, oh, I love when he does that. He's like, girl, let me help you remember February 13th, because I told myself I want to do something for me to show me that I love me for Valentine's Day. And that is what I did. February 13th. It was a Friday, Friday the 13th. As a matter of fact, I went and got my nails done. Thank you, Lord, because I wanted to do something for me to show me that I loved me. And that entire weekend, I did just that, starting with getting my nails done. And then the next day, on actual Valentine's Day, I went to Home Depot, bought me 2 plants without shame or anything. I knew I was going to pamper myself. 2 plants, stopped by the Dollar Tree, did a little bit of shopping, and stopped by Panera Bread and got me a delicious meal because it was me loving me. So the teaching point with this one is independence isn't about doing everything alone. It's about trusting yourself to choose. And I know that's kind of, a little off with, all the examples and stuff I gave you, but it's in there. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to, Independence isn't, I'm independent of anybody. I don't need nothing. I don't, no. Put people in the right place in your life, especially on your healing journey. But that's also a decision. That's also a choice. So your action step, now I call this one the micro decision shift. Okay, because back to all of the examples I gave you, it's the micro decisions that we're going to start shifting today. Okay. Make one decision daily starting today without asking for validation. Would you rather have meatloaf than lasagna? Make the decision. I'm gonna have meatloaf today. I want meatloaf. Do you want to go get gas here or there? Make the decision. I prefer to get gas there. I mean, and it might seem crazy to, use those analogies as examples, but I mean, really, when you've been in our situation, sis, those little decisions will then turn into bigger decisions on. This is another real life example. I told y'all I can only give you what I've actually lived through. Do I want to wear that dress to the gala? I say gala. A lot of people say gala. I say gala, country. Okay. Do I want to wear this dress to the gala or do I want to wear this dress? I bought both. Sure did. The old me would have been like, I ain't even going. I want to go. I want to go so bad. I know I need to be in that place. I know I deserve a spot in that room. There's conversations I need to have in that room. Oh, I'm not going. That's conditioned me. Because, really, am I ready for that? I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to wear. It's a little too high society for me. The ticket's $90. Oh my gosh. And then talk my whole self out of it. No, ma'am. The healed and healing Michelle, I deserve to go to that gala. I'm going to that gala. I'm buying my ticket so I know I can't back out of it. Now it's just a matter of picking what I'm going to wear. And because I didn't know if I wanted to wear that dress or that dress, I bought both of them. And when they came in, I put them on and I twirled like a little Barbie. And I twirled and I said, which one do I feel like? Which one do I feel the most in? And I chose that dress. You can go back and look at my Instagram or my Facebook and see, my gala pictures and stuff. Excuse me, I wore the exact dress that I wanted to wear. I did my hair exactly like I wanted to do it, like I envisioned it. And I didn't let anybody talk me out of it. I didn't let anybody change my mind on, well, you should do this, you should do that. You can shit on me all you want to. But in my mind, I have it already visioned how I'm going to wear my hair. And I did it just like that. How I want to wear my makeup. And I did it just like that. I wore the exact shoes, the exact purse. I even went above and beyond and got business cards made because I went with the intention of making connections. I went with a script in my head, practiced for when people asked me, so what's your business? Precision Property Management is the business that I have registered with the organization that put on this gala. I haven't registered Divinely Aligned Woman with them yet, but Precision Property Management is another business that I have. Now you know. Well, what do? I help other property management companies with back end systems and operations and occasional social media management. Oh, wow. Do you have any dreams or aspirations? I most certainly do. By the end of 2027, I want to have a handful of my own short term and long term rental properties. Absolutely. I practiced that because I knew that I had made the decision to put myself in a position to be amongst people where these conversations were going to be had. I made a connection with a guy who I'm going to help him visualize. So he bought a building in a town over and he wants to use it for commercial real estate. But his mind, he can't really see, like he has a vision for it and he knows what he wants to do with it, but he can't see how to get there. That's where I come in at. It's already in the works. I would have missed that opportunity had I talked myself out of going to this gala. So, to get to these big decisions in your life, we're going to start with the small ones. Make one decision daily without asking for validation. And then the second part of this try to say this fast 3 times, micro decision shift. The second part of that is to start small. So make a decision daily, but start small. And I already gave you some examples, but for the sake of what I have written down, what to eat, what to wear, what to say no to. Would you like to blah blah blah? No. Ask my sister-in-law. And I'm so like, I love like the Lord could not have given me a better sister-in-law than the one that I have. And my brother was married a couple times before her, and none of them were like her. And I'm so glad because they've been married 20 some years, so she's no one. But she'll call me and say, "Hey, I'm gonna go bowling, and I thought of you. Would you like to go?" I can tell her, "Girl, no, I'm not bowling tonight." Okay, love you. No shame, no nothing, no nothing. But she has an understanding that when I say no, it's not an attack on her. Like she don't take stuff like that personal. Somebody unhealed and like whatever, you want to call it, who, you can't tell them no and they internalize it's like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? See, that was me. That person I'm talking about was me. If somebody didn't message me back in a certain amount of time, if I didn't hear from somebody, if somebody told me no, if, just fill in all of the blanks, I take it personal and be like, what's wrong with me? What did I do to hurt their feelings? Did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Well, maybe I should just say yes, because so they won't, look at me any type of way. See, all that comes from the conditioning of having been in unhealthy relationships coupled with the conditioning and the imprinting from birth, from caregivers, from coaches, from friends, from just life experiences. And that's the type of stuff I'm telling you, I get into with the Divinely Aligned Woman Code course. That one really, really deep on that. We just, scratched the surface with the Reclaim You collection. But there's no need to wait to get to those super deep levels when you can start making those micro shifts now. You can start saying, no, I don't want to do that tonight. Yes, I want to wear that. Yeah, I do want to hang out. Yeah, come over. And then when we talk about, going back to identity, start remembering the things that you liked to do. What were you naturally drawn to? And it's going to start to rekindle and start to resurface some things that didn't realize was getting tucked way down yonder. Okay. And then with confidence, start creating the emotional safety, just one situation at a time. Don't wake up to that. I'm not going to have any problems. I ain't going to let nothing bother me. Everything is fine. I'm safe. Don't even kid yourself like that, honey. Take that stuff one situation, one encounter, one experience at a time. You find yourself in a situation where you start to have some stuff that don't feel good. Okay, I'm safe. Let me look at this a different way. Because is this what it really is? Or am I seeing it from my conditioning? And if it doesn't feel right, what's the alternative? What is my conscious mind? What is happening in reality? Is this really a threat? Is this really a fight or flight? Or do I got my dukes up because I don't want to get hurt? I don't want to see it any other way. And if I can't figure it out, I'm going to take a break. Come back to it. I'll revisit it. Okay. All right. So this masterclass is part of, like I said in the beginning, something. It's the Divinely Aligned Woman brand, but it's gonna be big. Okay, it's big. But I'm starting with the Reclaim You collection. And I call it a collection because we literally touch base with reclaiming your confidence, reclaiming your identity, and reclaiming your independence. on a level that's really going to help you gain some ground in your healing journey. And again, it's a choice. You have to choose. You want to go fast, you want to go slow, you want to, do whatever. But the Reclaim You collection is there for you to get started on those particular three things: reclaiming your confidence, reclaiming your identity, and reclaiming your independence. Okay. And, just to be completely honest and give you an insider view of in here, when I started my healing journey, I was all over the place, doing this, doing that, just here, there. And there was no real direction, even though I had counselors, I had therapists, I had coaches, because that's something I wasn't going to sit on. This is life and I ain't playing with it. Never have played with life, when I make my mind up on something. And I knew that healing was going to be critical sooner, especially because I have children in tow. It's not just me. I have little people who are watching me, who are trusting me to help guide them through the same PTSD that their mama endured, from their father, type of thing. And so when I felt like God gave me the go to do this, I thought to myself, okay, what am I supposed to do? And he showed me a blueprint. And this blueprint is one that I needed when I came out of my situation that I didn't have. It wasn't laid out for me like this. And so I created the Reclaim You collection from that place of here. You've already got enough going on in your head, girl. You don't need to try to figure out, what do I do? Where do I start? How do I start healing? Here. This is how. This is how. It's universal. It's fluid. I've been prayed, and I believe that every hand that, touches the Reclaim You collection is going to be exactly what they need. Okay. So that's where this came from, was that right there. So just to give you a quick breakdown of the Reclaim You collection, it's the 3 sections. Each section has 3 videos each. Okay. It totals 4 hours of video content, plus you get a workbook that'll take you through, the different things where it's like stop, pause, journal this out, or, just watch it all the way through and come back to it. So you do get a digital workbook that you can print out and just use over and over, for however many times you watch the course. Um, and so the Reclaim You collection is $111, 111. But I really I want you to get this now. And I want to bless you with it for $77. So if you click the button below this video and type in the coupon code RECLAIM, RECLAIM, you can get the Reclaim You collection for $77. Yeah, I want to do that for you. Okay. All right, sister. This is the last thing I want to leave you with, and this is the last thing I have written down in my journal for this. You don't need permission to become her. You just need to decide. Okay. So make sure you're following me on socials. I do have a YouTube channel. I am on Facebook, and I'm super triple active on Instagram, all with Divinely Aligned Woman. Okay. Divinely Aligned Woman. And then my website, it'll have all the things for you. So right now, the DAW code is not officially released at the time of me recording this. It releases February 20th, not February 20th. Lord have mercy, I'm going backwards. April 20th. April 20th, the DAW code officially releases. That is the super, super in-depth. You can start there, but I highly recommend you start with the Reclaim You collection so you can start to gain some ground in your healing journey. And then by the time you invest in the DAW code, you'll be ready to just jump off that high diving board into the deep end. Okay. And then the DAW code's actually going to have an inner circle attached to it. That's not going to start until this summer. I'm just going with the Lord's timing. And when He tells me I need to do something, and I know it's divinely aligned, so I don't even question it. But towards July 2026, start looking for the doors to open for the inner circle. That is where you will want to be if you want that personalized help. You will get me weekly live coaching calls. We are going to walk through the DAW code. That is going to be our basis, but there's also going to be other avenues coming off of that main highway of the DAW code. So just be on the lookout. Just once you get plugged into my collective, just know I got you. I got you on the surface level, the deep level, the interpersonal. If you want to work with me one on one, I am available for that now as well. It's all here on my website. But go ahead and click the link underneath this video, type in reclaim in the coupon thing section, and grab the Reclaim You collection for $77. All right, sister, I love you and happy healing.